Axel?
Because she wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Very good. And what was this book about? Courtney?
It was about how the life of slaves, how people were like tormented and stuff.
So it showed the North how harsh slavery was. Very good. So it was a book written by Harriet Beecher Stowe. So Harriet Tubman, she helped slaves to freedom. Now, what was so special about Harriet Tubman? What?
She was a conductor.
She was a conductor, which means that she did leave slaves. Was she a slave before, or was she a freed person the whole time? Right?
She was a slave.
She used to be a slave herself. So she escaped from slavery, but then she came back to help other slaves escape as well. Very good. So it outlawed slavery throughout the U.S. So that means slavery is now gone. And that went into what piece of paper, what document do our amendments go into? What document? Brandon? The Constitution. Very good. All right, so continuing. Remember, we talked about 13th, 14th, and 15th. So what's our 14th Amendment?
I'll start. I noticed with the teacher focus that the teacher was asking why questions and she was clarifying student responses. So she was extending what they said to review with the students.
Well, I think from a good perspective, she noticed when there were missed answers, somebody got it wrong, she kind of went through those distractors and tried to get the kids to kind of talk through what issues, why did they get those confused?
Yeah, I know she talked through them, but then my question was, how do you address the groups that didn't get the question right? Because I wrote down 7 had the correct answer, but what about the other 2 groups that didn't have the correct answer?
Using the data,
How to use that data.
how to use the data from Kahoot. And then the collaboration piece too is that when they were getting the answers, it seemed as if the same person was answering without a whole lot of conversation beforehand. So making sure that there's conversation, but I think it goes back to the questions have to be worthy of a higher level question will help facilitate that discussion piece in the collaboration.
Exactly, I've listened in on a group and that's exactly what happened. A quick response to the answer.
But I did notice the teacher, she was doing a lot more of the explaining and the in-depth, and so I wonder if she could word her questions better to make it a little higher level so that, they could do more discussing of it instead of to take it off of her, put it on the kids, to think through it more.
And get them more involved.
Because she kept asking what is the 13th Amendment, what is the 14th Amendment, and it was very a concrete answer instead of maybe the causes or what led to it or things like that, just more the inferring.
Just got to take those experiences we're seeing in our DAs and the way they're asking questions to take it to that next level. Again, if they have that instruction at that level, the DA is going to be a piece of cake.
So what are our next steps?
So next steps going forward, I think obviously policies and procedures. First year teacher, I think she's got policies and procedures down in her class, had no problem getting into it and going. They kind of understood what to do when they were in it. So there's a kudos to her. Obviously, I think the questioning, just
That
being
purposeful
the
planning.
purpose. And I think it's that awareness of it for her, just knowing that there are other ways to ask questions to further your kids as they prepare for the DAs. So just making her aware, giving her some support and helping understand those. We've got some good veteran teachers on grade level who can help her along with that technique where it's second nature to them, but it is new to her.
Maybe some observations where she can either see them
Absolutely.
or they can come in and see her and give her some more feedback with her questions.
Not
Which I love.
You know, or just whatever that is.
And I like analyzing it for patterns.
You see the whole.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, that's enough, just go to bed. And the next day, he will be able to retell everything, word for word. And I think because he was able to process it the entire, because he remembers all the ways, and he'll know, and I can actually try to see where they're coming. And then they would never have self-regulation.
Yeah, then figure out what am I, sometimes they really have no negative things and have positive things like that. They got what
The whole idea of helicopter parenting, which is.
And what I've done before when I've done it in the classroom, because we're sitting around these tables, is just have their chairs back to back, like making the 4 chairs be the center of the wheel, and then the other one standing around it, so it's a smaller wheel, so you could find some little open space areas where you could set it up. They could even sit down.
Yeah.
Just sit on the floor and sit back to back as the 4, and then have the others.
A lot of times, like character traits for 3rd grade, like the traits, feelings, motivations, actions, those could be different questions to be posed, and they have to move and give that evidence from the text to.
We talked about even at the beginning of the school year, just to introduce this, like what did you do this summer? You know, just getting them used to this format and protocol.
And it could be 4 different categories of trips or fun things you ate or a new place you went or, any kind of sport or camp. You could have 4 different categories. Let me ask you some questions. Okay. All right, so here's the first thing you have to figure out. You multiply 60 times 60 times 60. You need to figure out what that tells you about this figure. What is 60 times 60?
We're just trying to get her over here.
60, 60 times.
So which one would you
What does
like?
it tell you about the table?
We tried green, but the teacher said I wouldn't yellow.
That's if you have a question. Now, if you have a question, it's telling me some information about the area of a whole square or a whole rectangle, right? Let's look at our table.
Done, right?